Okay, welcome to the third video when we look at elasticities. So the income elasticity of demand is another type of elasticity. So far we've looked at price elasticity of demand and how sensitive demand for products are to their price. Now we're considering this income elasticity of demand and how demand for a product is shaped by the overall income. If we were to consider two types of products, let's consider DVDs and with that things like movie downloads, Netflix. And secondly, we consider something like a basic food, bread, milk, cheese, etc. I think it's fair to say that as you earn more, you're likely to spend more money on some goods or services and less money on other goods and services. And we reflect on this by talking about the income elasticity of demand. So as our income increases, we may choose to spend more money on DVDs and downloads and less money on the basic food items, preferring better quality food items. Perhaps you treat yourself to a cake or treat yourself to a nice piece of cheese. If we look at the income elasticity of demand, if the percentage increase in demand is greater than the percentage increase in income, then the good is referred to as income elastic. Equally, if the percentage increase in demand is less than the percentage increase in income, then the good is known as income inelastic. And as you can see, it's similar terminology to when we discussed the price elasticity of demand. So the income elasticity of demand can be positive, and the increases in income result in increases in demand for normal goods. Now, the income elasticity of demand can also be negative, and there can be an increase in income results in a decrease in demand. And perhaps if we think into this in terms of, say, an inferior good or a basic value good. And we'll be talking more about this in the lecture. But if we look at this chart here, when the income rises, there's a shift in demand rightwards as the increase in income and increase in demand. Now the degree to which this product is elastic or inelastic affects how far right it would shift. If there was, say, a 10% increase in income for normal goods, the degree of the shift relates to the income elasticity or inelasticity. Now the reverse applies for inferior goods. So an increase in income means a shift to the left. With a higher income, the quantity demanded for inferior goods becomes less. So let's have a look at interpreting this demand. Now, income elasticity of demand is important if you're producing goods, because it's really important that you know how changes in income might affect the demand for a product, for your product. So we need to know what's happening and what type of good we produce, whether the good is normal or inferior. We might make a choice to pitching this as a normal or inferior. Now supermarkets have different ranges which are clearly pitched as inferior, with things like the value brands. And equally they have their normal goods which are pitched perhaps as the finest brands. So as people's income increases, there will be the expectation that people would spend less on inferior goods and more on the normal and finest ranges. Now this produces more profit, so more profit when income rises. Equally the reverse happens when income decreases. So pitching your product range to take account of different income elasticities is really important. So we need to understand if our product is normal, inferior, and if this is likely to be affected by income levels. And my example would be an inferior good could be perhaps Tesco's everyday value, and a normal good will be a normal brand or perhaps the finest. So if there is a prediction of a recession, what could this mean to you as a business? Should you be making more inferior goods? Equally, if there's a predicted growth in the economy, we may want to invest in a range with normal characteristics. So when the higher income levels, it will lead to an increase in demand. Just look at these shifts and movements again. So the price elasticity of demand relates to movements along the demand curve, where the changes in quantity demanded is a result from changes in price. And equally, the income elasticity of demand relates to shifts in the demand curve. So changes in demand results from changes in income.